of the Max Out universe. You guys know I see it all over here. He has an incredible podcast. He has millions of followers on social media. And one of the things that I think I love most about Ed is his desire to seek to serve, right? He is a very busy guy, so he has to protect his schedule, but he more than most will go out of his way to make sure that everybody's winning and that he is giving every ounce of support he has to help other people win. And I think that's one of my favorite things. So let me just check one more time that we're good to go. He's good to go back there. Okay. So then that means he's watching us. So right now they're going to switch my audio off and his on, but he's looking at us. Ladies and gentlemen, give a huge wave, huge welcome, make some energy for Ed Mylett.
All right. Cole, thank you, brother, for that introduction. I love you. It's an honor to be here. Cody, tremendous job. And like I said, I'm so honored to be here today, everybody. And the reason that I am, I do a lot of speaking engagements, but there's certain ones when I look on my calendar, first off, it's a Saturday, it's late in the day. If this wasn't so important to me, I wouldn't have been looking so forward to it. But the reason I'm looking so forward to this is because I so deeply believe in what you're all intending to do. Oftentimes, when you become relatively well-known as an entrepreneur, like I've been blessed enough to do, or personal development or self-help or peak performance guy, whatever the heck people think I am, build your wealth. And, for me, I built a business that was a cash flow machine for me, significant income. But then I took that income and I've been buying and selling real estate now for 30 years. In fact, I bought my first property with a creative deal while I was still in college. And so many of the things that you're all looking at doing today is what's made me wealthy. And I'm not so sure that if you asked 100 people who follow me, that they would necessarily link me to the real estate space. But that is certainly, it's not only my passion, it's something that I pride myself on knowing an awful lot about. I've done hundreds and hundreds of real estate deals, all different types, by the way. I've done commercial real estate. I've done office buildings. I've done multi-unit. I've done residential. I've done buy and improve and flip. I've done buy and hold. I've done the whole gamut of real estate. I've done very creative deals. I've done AITDs. I've done wraparound mortgages. I've done traditional financing. I've done trades, significant trades. In fact, I've done some of the biggest trades maybe in the United States in the last 5 years. And so I love what you're all doing, and I can't even tell you how excited I am about what the potential is for all of you. So with that in mind, I've got a goal for this next hour or so we're going to spend together, and it's really a big one. I'm going to be honest with you. It's that it changes your life, and that's a bold statement to make. But I don't invest time like this anymore, for the money. I invest it for the impact. And I'd like to think I'm turning 50 next month. The way that I kind of look at my life is I spent the first 50 years of my life sort of building my own life and resume. And I'd like to spend the next 50 years helping people just like you guys build yours. And I'd like to think that I've got a little bit of experience that, maybe I could save you some time so you don't make all the mistakes I've made, and just give you some insight and some hope and some inspiration as well. So first thing I want to say to you is you are one decision away from completely changing your life. I want to say that to you again. You are one decision away from completely changing your life. And so as I'm talking, it's okay to let your mind wander as you're taking notes. What's that decision? What's that move that I've got to make that's going to change my life? Because our decisions determine our destiny in our lives. I am where I am today, good, bad, or indifferent, because of the decisions I've made, and then my ability to execute on those decisions as well. But it all starts with a decision. It all starts with some guts. It all starts with some courage. So you can learn all the how-tos of how to do what you guys are learning to do that I know as well. But you got to have the guts to make the decisions to shift your life. Right now I'm at the beach. It's a beautiful Saturday. And this beach that I live on, my wife and I, she was my girlfriend in high school, Christiana, we would literally leave kind of lower middle America where we lived and drive down here on the weekends to this very beach. And I would walk on this beach and say, babe, someday we're going to live up there, with no plan on how to do it. And what's crazy about it is I remember I used to think, who are these people that live on the ocean? Like, who are these people? Do they inherit it all? Are they all athletes? Are they all actors? Like, they were like Martians to me, because I come from a lower middle class family, wonderful family, a lot of dysfunction in it, but a wonderful family. But I didn't come from a family that even talked about dreaming, talked about upward mobility, talked about getting rich. We never went on a vacation. In fact, my father recently passed away, and every year in a company that I'm involved with, we go to Hawaii every year. And for years, I'd ask my mom and dad, do you want to go to Hawaii with us? My parents have still never been to Hawaii, because I come from a family, maybe like, so it's just a loving family. My dad's like, well, why would I go to Hawaii to hang out with you when I can hang out with you here in Chino? I'm like, well, Dad, the golf courses are better in Hawaii. The weather's better in Hawaii. You know, the food's better in Hawaii. It's called a dream, Dad. And my dad would just say, those aren't my dreams. My dreams are just to spend time with my son. So that to give you an idea of the kind of family that I come from. And then to someday know that I live here. And by the way, this would be one of many homes, multiple homes that we've been able to acquire. I have one of maybe the premier homes on the West Coast. I have two of them, as a matter of fact. And to be blessed to have, you know, my own Global Express jet that I just bought from Larry Ellison, who's the 5th richest man in the world. He's estimated worth of $70 billion. Just bought his jet that I had the good fortune of flying around on. And when I was that 14-year-old dude walking his girlfriend on the beach, I had no idea how we were going to get here. And I just want you to know what I figured out about all these families. See, not all these families were always rich families. At one point, they weren't a rich family. At one point, they weren't a special family until the one showed up. The one. And that one, it might have been 100 years ago, it might have been 20 years ago. The one shows up eventually in every family and changes that family tree forever. And in my family, I'm the damn one. I'm the one who showed up. I'm the one who took the hits. I'm the one who took the risks. I'm the one who worked the 18-hour days. I'm the one who worked the Saturdays, just like you are today. I'm the one who went to the events and the seminars when I had no money and put it on credit cards. Everybody thought I was crazy. I was the one that missed some of the family functions. I was the one that humped it up so that we would be one of those families everybody looks at and goes, who are those people? And so if a rich family, if you don't come from a rich family, a successful family, a rich and successful family, proof of that. In fact, I'm going to prove it to you right now. How many of you feel like you're at that stage where you're an imposter syndrome? You know, like almost that fake it till you make it. I took that to an extreme. So instead of talking about, because it's easy to go, hey, I've got a $40 million airplane or a $40 million house or all this stuff, right? Like no one even can comprehend that stuff. And by the way, that doesn't make you successful. If you live on a beautiful home or have a great jet and you're not happy, you're not blissful, you're not passionate about what you do, you don't love the people around you, you're no more successful than you would be if you had none of it. Successful people are happy. I have a sister who's a kindergarten teacher. She's diabetic. She was born with diabetes. She's blind. She's lost her vision. I think she probably makes $40,000 a year. I consider her one of the most successful people I've ever met. She's happy. She's blissful. She's following her cause and her mission in her life. And that's beautiful. Now, having said that, I've been happy when I was poor, and I've been happy rich. Happy rich is way better. Happy rich is way better. It's way better. So let's get happy rich. All right. So let's talk about that today. Imposter syndrome. When I started out in business, I wanted to be successful so bad, probably like many of you do. And I thought, I have to look the part. I need to drive a Mercedes. This is a true story I'm about to tell you. So when you start thinking, you know, if I sound somewhat smart, we're going to put all that to bed right now. In my own family, I have the lowest IQ. We just did it again. I have 4 people in my house, my wife, 2 kids, and me. I'm 4th in my own house in IQ. I got a 760 on the SAT. So I'm not a smart dude. What happened was I learned some skills. Then I learned how to change my identity, build my self-confidence, and I've changed my life. You can learn to change your identity, change your self-confidence. You apply that into the real estate space, you can get very, very wealthy, like very, very, very wealthy. You can be the one. But I wasn't the one in the beginning. So I want to give you some hope. Every word of this story is true. Every word of it. You will have never heard a story like this in your life, and you will never forget this story the rest of your life. And thank God when this story happened, there wasn't social media. Because Forbes just named me the fastest growing businessman in the history of social media. That's a really good honor. I'd have been the fastest growing non-businessman in the history of social media. I'd have gone viral for the wrong reasons 25 years ago. So here we go. Mike, can you pull this thing up? I just want to ask everybody a question before you all look at this, and I'll tell you the story. Can you pull that up for me, Mike? So, hey, guys, I wanted to be successful so badly that I had to find a Mercedes, but I couldn't afford one. You're good, Mike, just like that. You have to move the mouse. Okay. So I wanted to be successful so bad I had to find a Mercedes, but I couldn't afford one. I had $4,000, $4,000 to buy a Mercedes. I wanted an S600 convertible. Open up the Penny Saver. If y'all remember what that is, most of you are probably too young, but it's a local paper. And I see this advertisement. This lady says, Kit Car Mercedes. I'm like, Kit Car? There was a show called Knight Rider back in the day with David Hasselhoff. And I thought, is it like Kit? His car's name was Kit. So I keep reading further. If you read this, there's Mercedes-Benz fiberglass full body kit on a Chrysler LeBaron body. Let me say that to you again. Here's what this car is. These cars are. Someone takes a Chrysler LeBaron, strips the frame off of it, and welds to it a Mercedes body. So you got a fake ass Mercedes. You driving around in a car that looks like a Mercedes, but the inside's a LeBaron, the engine's a LeBaron, and it runs like a LeBaron. And there's one other problem. LeBarons are about 1.5 feet bigger than a real Mercedes, so it doesn't even fit right. But I'm like, this sounds pretty good. I can fake this. I'll fake that. Tell me. So listen what I'm telling you. You hear me talking about how I fly around on a $40 million jet? This started with a kit car Mercedes. That's how I started. Except mine was a little worse than that. Mike, click the screen if you would. So I read this ad, and I'm like, this is an interesting one. How come this one's only $3,500? So I drive down to this lady's house. We'll call it a house. It was more like a trailer. I'm pretty sure there was some meth involved in this young woman's life. And I start looking at this kit car Mercedes. I know it's fake. I know it's a LeBaron with a Mercedes body on it. I know it's welded together, except she says, well, she's got a toothpick in. She goes, well, this one's a little different. Not quite that level. I'm like, level? How much lower can you get than a fake Mercedes welded together? Who the hell? How can it get lower than that? She goes, well, this one's Velcroed together. I said, say that again. She says, we couldn't afford to weld the body on, so it's put on with Velcro. I said, WTF are you talking about, lady? She says, the car is Velcroed on. If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. But that's why it's $3,500. You think I'm playing with you, everybody? I'm dead serious. And I thought to myself, it's all I can afford. I'll drive a Velcroed car. Who gives a crap? I need to look successful. And when you would drive this car, people would know it was too big. So people that didn't know Mercedes wouldn't know. But everybody else was rattled. The heater ran all the time. But I fooled a lot of people. I'm going to prove it to you. I got the two Mercedes on the screen right now. Which one's the real one? Which one's my car? I parked it right here. And which one's the fake one? You guys pick right now. Who thinks it's the blue car is the real one? Blue is real or the silver is real? I'm going to answer your question right now. Show him, Mike. Click it, Mike. Bam. That was my car. That's the fake one. Half you got it wrong, didn't you? So I fooled you. You can take it down, Mike. Now, here's the crazy part of this. I'm going to tell you how this car worked. As I'm about to buy the car, you're laughing your ass off right now. You're like, this isn't true. This is true. I went from a Velcroed Mercedes to a $40 million jet. You ain't never going to hear that story again. Except this is even crazier. She tells me as I'm driving away, she goes, now be careful. When you pull up to stoplights in this thing, if you stop too fast, the front headlight will fly out into the intersection. The Velcro's loose. I said, what did you say? She says, you need to ease into the brakes. If you brake too soon, that headlight will fly out into that intersection. I'm like, I got it. More than 100 times in my life, Ed Mylett right here has had this exact scenario happen in my life. Thank God there was no Instagram. Thank God there was nobody with cell phones with cameras on them. I would come up to the light, stop too soon. My headlight would fly off into the intersection. And I'd have to get out of my car, stop four-way traffic at a stoplight. I want you to picture you're at one of the other lights and you watch some idiot get out of his Velcroed car, stop traffic in his cheap suit in August in Southern Cal, grab the headlight that flew off his car, walk back to his car, Velcro that sumbitch back on the car, and get in the car and drive away. I've done that more than 100 times in my life, that exact scene. People falling out, roaring, laughing in their cars, honking at me. Woo! Right? Telling me to move out the way. I'm picking up my own headlight that's Velcroed to my fake car as I go back in. Except about 10 times, I was so rattled, I shut the door too hard, and the door fell off because that Velcro was loose too. Dead serious. Now, how viral would I be in the social media world today? That's a true story. By the way, that car got stolen multiple times. And the thieves would just leave it like a block away when they figured out. They just left the keys and like, this is a piece of crap. How many people had their car stolen 4 times and the thieves leave the keys in the car because the thing is that crappy a car? So yes, Ed Mylett drove a Velcroed Mercedes for 2 years. That's how I started off in business. Driving around in my fake Velcroed car. You ain't ever hearing that again. Now, does that give you hope? So I don't want you, when we're talking today, I don't want anybody going, this dude's impressive. What ought to be impressive is that I could go from that to where I am. Hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth. By the way, I used to tell people, this is the first ever hybrid. Because at that time, LeBaron, Chrysler, and Mercedes had merged. I was lying my ass off to everybody. It's the first ever LeBaron, Chrysler, because they get in the car, the heater was blowing. It's crazy. It's just, Sorry, I had to tell you, because I hate people thinking somehow getting wealthy, you have to be a special person. I'm an average, ordinary man. In some ways, a crazy ass average, ordinary man. Okay. Does that give you hope? I sure hope it does, because it gives me hope even telling you the story. It's embarrassing to tell, but if I don't tell you, you don't know. So I wanted to be somebody that bad. But I'm an average, ordinary person who learned how to do real estate, learned how to communicate, learned how to sell the dream, right? Learned how to close people, learned how to persuade, learned how to get creative. And I went to work on changing who I was, my identity, what I believed to be true about myself. Okay. What I believed to be true about me, I had to go to work on changing. See, here's what I want you to get. Change is automatic in life. So let me give you an example. You're constantly changing involuntarily. You have 37 trillion cells in your body. They're replacing themselves every second. You have 200 billion some odd red blood cells. They're replacing themselves. Your digestive tract replaces itself every 4 years. Your lungs replace 10% of themselves annually. Your bones do too. So you're constantly replacing yourself, but are you replacing you? Are you growing you? Are you moving you? Right? I changed my identity. I went to work on the things I teach. If you follow my Instagram, my YouTube, my podcast, I'm not bragging. I produce the best content in the world, and it's all free. I produce the most tactical, inspirational, detailed content of anyone who's ever been in this space that took a dude in a Velcroed Mercedes to a jet. I'm not one of these wannabe entrepreneurs who speak about things they've never done before and never have applied. Everything I teach are mistakes I've made. One of the most successful businessmen in the world, under 50 years old, who started out as that guy. Shy, insecure. I come from an alcoholic father family. My first job, my big change in my life was working at an orphanage, which I wish I had more time to talk about today. So I just want you to understand you can change your life. Now, I'm going to give you some formulas to do this. Number one, write this down. Facts tell, stories sell. You got to start telling more stories. Not all facts and data. Even when you're putting real estate deals together, you want to persuade people. Tell them stories. Put together stories for people, okay? The more you give people facts and details, the less likely they are to make a decision. And I've made some lists here for you because here's the deal. Are you willing to sacrifice who you are right now for who you can become? Or are you too addicted to holding on to who you are right now? You have to make a decision at some point that you're willing to do that, because you've heard me say this before, some of you that follow me, your obsessions become your possessions. But if you don't get really clear about what you obsess about, you'll continue to possess the wrong things in your life. So I went to work on my identity. Your identity is the thoughts, concepts, and beliefs that you hold to be the most true about yourself. It's what you think you're worth. And in your life, you are going to get that. And if you don't change that, you can have all the detailed strategies in the world. About to buy real estate, sell real estate, flip real estate, multi-unit, creative deals, wraparounds, AITDs, anything you want to talk about, I can talk about. But let me just say something to you. If you don't change your identity, you will eventually still get the same things out of life you've always gotten. I'm going to give you an example. Your identity is like a thermostat sitting on the wall. It's right over there. Right on that wall right now, that thing is set at actually 74 degrees today. The external conditions do not dictate the internal temperature of this room. For too many of you, you allow the external conditions of your life to dictate the internal temperature. But the way identity works is long-term, you're going to get what your identity is. So if your identity, if you're a 74 degreer of happiness or wealth, you will find a way when you start getting going and you're making a little bit of money, you've done a couple deals, you probably had this happen. You're happier and happier and happier. Maybe you've had this in a relationship. You're at 85, 90, 95 degrees of results. But inside, you're still a 74 degreer. You will unconsciously turn the air conditioner on of your life to get it right back to what you believe you deserve. It may take you 6 months. It may take you a year to cool it back down, 18 months. It may seem coincidental. Car breaks down, deal doesn't go right, economy changes. Nope, it's not that. It's that your results exceeded your thermostat setting. You will cool that sucker back down again. The key is to learn to increase your results as you're increasing even beyond that, your identity. One of the best ways you change your identity is the proximity to you of people who live at a higher temperature in that area. So for example, for me, the most important part of my life for many years now has not been the money part. It's been my faith part. I got the money stuff done a long time ago. For me, it's getting closer to God, because that's where all this stuff's come from anyway. All glory goes to God in my life. Amen. I'm a sinner saved by the grace of God. Believe me. And he's favored and blessed me. And so I want my faith life to increase. So you know what I do? I surround myself with men who live at 150 degrees of faith. When I was 100 and they were 150, that proximity got me to 125. So if you want to do that in the wealth part of your life, that's why this group is so critical. The Codys, the Dan Fleischmans, right? The Coles, the other people in the room that you're meeting. Maybe they're at 150 degrees and you're at 74. That proximity will help you. So if you do the strategies and you work on yourself, and then you pick one or two of these social media podcast influencer people to mentor you. Don't listen to 50 of them. You can glance at their stuff. You got to pick one or two. You go, that's my guy. That's my lady. That's the dude who's got it. I apply for that position. By the way, it's all free. And one thing I will say is you aren't going to find anybody even close. Okay? Not even close. And so not everything I do is a deal a minute. I'm not charging you all the time. I just want to help and serve you, because I'm where in my life, I'm where I'm at in my life, from that Velcro Mercedes to where I am now, because of my mentors, because the people who took an interest in me, who helped me associate with them and change my life. So you got to change that thermostat setting. The next thing you got to do is you got to quit negotiating the price you're paying. Okay. Aren't you doing that all the time? It's too much. There's this seminar. It costs this. I'm losing this time. I got this sacrifice, that. Everyone around you is telling the price is too big. The price is too big. You have to stop negotiating the price. That's what poor people do. See, when I was poor and I'd walk in a store, everything was not what I wanted. It was, what's it cost? What's the price tag? What's the price tag? I was always flipping price tags over. I could never get what I wanted because I was so consumed with what things cost. That's a principle in your life right now. If you keep consuming yourself with what it's costing you, the time, the effort, the energy, the pain, the money, and you consume yourself with the cost, at some point you have to negotiate and say, my will to win is not for sale. As long as it's legal, ethical, moral, I'm not quitting. I may not be the fastest, the smartest, but I'm not quitting. You can't get me to quit, man. And so that is a freeing thing, a total commitment. People think, man, when you make a total commitment, you lose all freedom. Completely backwards. A total commitment to something is total and complete freedom, because now you just execute. But if you spend your time negotiating the price all the time, it's a diversion, it's a distraction, it's a poverty mindset. Your will to win cannot be for sale. And here's the truth. Most people's will is for sale. Eventually they'll relent with enough failure, enough setbacks, enough hurt. Eventually they just go, yeah, I surrender. They don't say it that way. They say it like, it just wasn't for me. Timing wasn't right. You know, being well, it's not that important. It's not all. I know a bunch of rich people aren't happy. And they relent. And they sell their will to win. But what they're really doing is they're selling their family's future. They're selling their legacy. They're selling their children, their future children. They're selling out their parents. So they didn't have the guts to keep going. Some people's will to win can be bought with enough success, right? Deal or two there, make your first 100 grand, your first million, your first 2 million. And all of a sudden you don't quit, but you slow down. You don't make the same effort. You don't want it as bad as you wanted it when you were broke. I'm gonna give you one of the keys from me. I want it right now more than I wanted it when I was a broke man. I want to compete. I want to win. I want to be somebody. I want to grow. I want to contribute. I want to improve. I want to get recognized. I want to have memories and moments as much or more than when I was starving. Because my will to win can't be bought with failure, and it sure as heck isn't going to be bought with success. And those of you that are having a little bit of success right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're a little too cool for school. You get up a little bit later, right? You ain't after it like you once were. You're not as focused or as intense. And so you get near the top, but you ain't getting to the top like that. You want to compete with someone like me, the top of the top in business? It's a dogfight. 90% of winning in life is being a good person and having the skills to do it. The last 10% is a dogfight. That 10% at the top is a dogfight. It's a slugfest. It's inches. It's millimeters to win. It's separators like this. It's a tactic. It's a strategy. It's a deal. It's the extra hour. It's the one more rep at the gym, the one more phone call, the one more contact. It's the inches, man. It's the inches that get you to the top in life. You start fighting for those inches. You start getting addicted to those inches, those millimeters. That's the separator long time. And you stack up enough of those over time, you separate yourself. So, I'm fired up. I'm done. No, I'm kidding. I'm not done yet, but I'm fired up, okay? So what I want to do now, Mike, can you pull up the next version? I want to show everybody something really quick. Okay. This is my son, Max. I'm a Christian man, so I'm going to try not to use profanity in this story. If I don't, give me some grace, because the real story had a little profanity in it. So my son, I have 2 children, and my son, I was an athlete. I played college baseball. I was probably a professional athlete if I didn't have a calf injury. I wasn't probably a big league baseball player, but I was probably a professional player. And my son, isn't. He's smart. He's kinder than his dad. He's smarter than his dad, but he ain't more athletic than his dad. He ain't more athletic than his sister. He's not more athletic than your kid. Just trust me. In fact, Max was so uncoordinated when he was little, we couldn't figure out whether he was left or right-handed. And I'm not exaggerating this. To this day, my son is 19 years old. I have no idea whether he's left or right-handed. In baseball, we switch hands. He couldn't catch or throw with either. We'd switch it again. He'd bat left, he'd bat right. I'm like, Max, you're a switch hitter. Whichever way you want to hit today, you can hit. He just not coordinated, right? And bless his heart, baseball, he'd go the whole season with 1 or 2 hits. In flag football, he was the kid who blocked. Any of the kids, you know what that means. You block in flag football, So finally, I'm like, well, maybe we could try golf. Golf's a grinder sport. It's just an effort sport. I don't know how much athleticism it requires, and Max will outwork you to death. My boy is hardworking. I'm so proud of him. This is just a picture of me and him, a little ragamuffin. And we started playing golf together. And I was one of these, I'm such an intense dude that when I committed that when I would have a son, I wouldn't be one of those crazy athlete dads. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? The screaming guy. Everybody thinks their kid's going to play professional football or baseball. I look at some of these guys, I'm like, dude, you're 5'6", 240 pounds. Your son has no genetic chance whatsoever ever to be a professional athlete. Lay off, But you know the guys I'm talking about. The soccer with your kids, any of them have kids, you know exactly what I mean. When he started playing golf, too, like, let's just have fun. This is about having fun. This is about me and you having an experience. And I really believe there's a chance for me and my son. I'm a busy guy. 4 or 5 hours a day to spend time together. And my son loved it. I just didn't put any pressure on him. Just have some fun. Just have some fun. So the first 2 years he plays golf, we still couldn't figure out whether he was left or right-handed. I bought 2 sets of left-handed clubs, 2 sets of right-handed clubs. We finally land on him playing right-handed. And we moved to the desert. And when we moved to this desert, Mike, if you can click a little bit, 1 file forward. This is my son right here warming up before the tournament I'm going to tell you about. You can tell he has a good golf swing. But for this place where we played, you can pull it down now, Mike. We'll pull it back up in a minute. This tour that Max played on, this is a life-changing story I'm going to tell you. Remember, facts tell, stories sell. The tour Max played on was really interesting. We moved where a bunch of professional golfers lived. Okay? So you got me, all tatted, and I'd show up to the tournament with my tattoos out, tank top on, Adidas pants, and I caddy. On that tour, the dad caddies for the son. My son dressed like a ragamuffin. We had him used clubs because it was his 5th set from the golf store. And we're playing against a professional golfer and his son, a professional golfer and his son. They're dressed to the nines, matching outfits from Nike, matching golf clubs. They look like professional players because one of them was. And then you got dumbass me, tank top, sweats. Max can't play. Terrible clubs. Can you picture this? And you caddy for your kid. So we would play weekend after weekend, and Max would lose every weekend. And I don't mean like if there's 30 kids in the tournament, let me be very clear with you. Max would finish 30th every single weekend. And we'd get in the car and I'd say, hey, Jeff. And he goes, yeah, Dad, I had fun. Wasn't that great? I'm like, good, buddy. I love you. And I would tell him before tournaments, hey, Daddy loves you the same whether you win or finish last. So just enjoy yourself. And so for weeks on end, for 2 years, Max would play, finish last. But he had this beautiful swing. One of the things about Max, he had this flexibility. And he'd watch golf on TV and mirror their swings. And he had a beautiful swing, but he never wanted to win. He never thought of it. My boy's such a sweet boy. First tee in a tournament, many times. He'd top one into the lake. Little Jeremy would bomb one down the middle. Max, great shot, Jeremy. That was so good, buddy. Give him a high five. And the kids are like, thanks, man. Like, they'd make a putt. Yay! They make a birdie. Max was more excited for them than they were for themselves. And Max will have 6 putts. So we'd lose every week. Every week we would lose. And we're playing with these pro players, and they followed me on socials. It was okay, but it was just, you can picture it. Week after week, we get in the car. Did you have fun, buddy? Yeah, Dad. We'd get home, and Mom knew not even to ask him where he placed. He was like, did you have fun? I had fun, Mommy. Right? Week after week for a couple years. And so finally, we're playing in the tournament where you see him warming up in that picture. This was the life-changing day in my son's life and mine. So again, I'm going to try not to cuss. Up until this day, my son had never heard me use profanity. He had heard his mom use it, but he had never heard his dad use profanity before. Not that I don't ever use it. He had just never heard it. And so we had played 9 holes, and we were playing with 2 professional players and their sons. And one of the guys in this group he not only played professional golf, but so did his dad. This is the grandson now who's also going to probably go play professional golf. So you can picture the level of play. And then there's just us. And we're slowing groups down. And so we get through the 9th hole, and to get to the 10th hole is about a 200-yard walk. And at the 9th hole, they always get the kids lunch. You go get a lunch and a drink, and you take it to the next hole. Well, there was a big gap, and we were behind because Max was playing bad, way behind the group in front of us, and the group behind us was sort of right on our tail. So as we're going, one of the dads turns. This is a life-changing moment. One of the dads turns and says, hey, guys, Max is out of it. He ain't going to be in this. Have Max go get your damn sandwiches. You guys go up to the tee box and hit your ball. And Max goes, okay, I'll go get their sandwich. I went, what the f did you just say to my son? He said, hey, man, he's not in it. We're behind because of Max. He needs to go get their sandwiches. I said, don't you ever talk to my son like that again. Don't you ever speak to my son like that. Hey, man, sorry. I said, let me tell you what. You guys go walk in. Max, you come here. I'll get the lunch. Max comes out. Hey, Dad. Hey. I said, come here. I got down on my knees. I said, look at me. I'm pulling on his shirt. I said, look at Daddy. I said, we're going to fucking win today. We're going to win today. He's like, Dad, what about, fun is, we're going to have some fun and you love me with it. I said, none of that crap today. Hey, Max, listen to me. Winning is more fun than fun is fun. We're going to damn win today. He's down 11 shots, by the way. Yeah, there's 9 holes left. He's scared. I said, are you listening to me? No one's going to talk to our family like that. It finally snapped in me. And I said, number 1, take that damn gray shirt off. We're switching your shirt just to change his identity. Put a new shirt on. I said, this is the winning shirt, Max. Okay, Dad. I'm scared. I said, listen to me. Here's how this is going to work. No more practice swings. And Daddy's going to tell you what club to hit. You don't get to take a practice swing. You got to hit the club Daddy tells you. All of a sudden, I'm business now. All of a sudden, I'm business now. I'm pissed. Right? I said, hey, you hit this 3-wood. You go walk over there. I'll go get the sandwiches. You walk over there and get that 3-wood and just rip it down the middle. No practice swings. Okay, Dad. Max kind of walks with his shoulders shrugged like Max walked. And I watched my little dude. I'm like, God, that was really hard there. I'm watching him walk up to the tee, kind of. He gets up there. Max was so goofy, he couldn't even tee his ball up. You ever see someone who can't even tee the ball up, like they get down on their knees, and he finally gets it teed up, and my heart's breaking now. I've never talked to him like that, and I'm just so sick of people discounting my son. It's not right. Overlooking him, treating him like he's nothing. Go get their sandwiches. He's out of it. Oh, I watched Max hit his drive. 3-wood right down the pooper, right down the middle. And I got up there. I said, how'd that feel? He goes, that felt pretty good, Dad. I said, see, we're going to get serious about it. I said, Max, we're going to win today. Okay, Dad. I said, we're going to win. Get up to the next ball. I said, hey, no practice swings. Hit this 8-iron. And now I'm directing him specifically. Before it was like, just swing, just hit a shot, just try. Now it was detailed. It was specific. It was precise. It was with intention. It was with intention to win. Intention to execute, not playing golf, winning golf. First time ever. You see all the lessons in this? Too many of you are playing this business, playing in your life, trying in your life, instead of intentionally deciding to win. So I said, Max, 8-iron, hit this thing about 10, 20 feet left of the pin. Let's execute. I'm dialed him. I said, no practice swing. Okay, Dad. Hits that 8-iron, about 25 feet left of the pin. He twirls the club and hands it to me. He goes, that was good, Dad. I don't think Max has been on the green in 2 shots in about 5 tournaments. I said, let's get up there and make this putt. Let's make this birdie. Let's make the birdie, man. All right, Dad. He starts kind of shoulders are back a little bit. The other two dads are kind of watching. We're still down 11 shots. Both these guys make bogey. Max gets up and he's about to putt. I said, Max, you haven't even lined the putt up. Get serious. Walk around the putt. Line it up like the other guys do. All right, Dad. So he starts looking around the putt, leaning it. He has no idea what he's looking at, but he's at least intentionally trying. He goes, I think it's about a foot left or right, Dad. I don't know either. Right? I'm like, sounds good, man. Knock it in the hole. He knocks it in the hole. He makes a damn birdie. Dad! I said, how about that? How's that feel, buddy? I said, hey, we're down 9. We're down 9, man. Here we come. We're going to win this thing. Kind of look at that guy. Next hole's a par 5. Max, I said, you slam this drive. I never want to hit. I said, you execute this driver. I got a beautiful swing, Max. And I pull on that shirt I put on him. I said, we're going to win. We're going to win, son. We're going to win today. I'm down on my knees. Okay, Dad. I said, just put a smoothie on it. No practice swings. Right down the middle. Little baby draw. He gets up. Whoosh, whoosh. Little baby draw. Right down the middle. How'd that feel? Because it felt good, Dad. He starts walking with his shoulders back down the fairway, kind of walking in front of me now. Now he's walking with the other two boys, talking to him like they're on the same level. Before Max would hang back. Now he's there. Now he belongs. Doesn't feel like he's on the outside anymore. Now he belongs. That's what I want for all of you. You belong winning. It's par 5. There's a lake in front of the green. I said, Max, it's about 220 yards. I said, you hit this 3-wood on the green. He's only like 10 or 11 years old. I said, hit that 3-wood. I said, no questions about it. No practice swings. Right? Both the other boys hit their 3-woods in the lake. I said, Max, hit this thing on the green. 5 feet left of the hole. This is where God comes in. This is where you're going to have some favor in winning. I think God blesses intentional decisions. I think God wants to favor you eventually in his time when you make bold decisions on that one decision. So Max gets up, hits that 3-wood. I'll never forget it the rest of my life. And it's in the air. And I'm like, Jesus, please let it go. But there's a brick wall with rock on it in front of the green. So here's the lake. There's the hole. Right, you got that? There's the hole. It's in the air. Please, Lord, Max, please, please. I'm like, oh, I start to look down. Ball goes straight up in the air. And somehow, straight up in the air, lands it on the green and rolls to about 8 feet from the hole. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Max gets up and makes the putt for an eagle. Both those boys made 7. Max made 3. Max made 3. We're down 5. Fast forward 17th hole. Max is down 1. He ends up making a par. They end up making a bogey. He's even going into the 18th hole. It's the 18th hole. I said, Max, we're going to win. He goes, Dad, we're going to win. I said, I know it. We're going to win. This boy's finished last every tournament he'd ever played in. Every tournament ever played in. Sure enough, they all hit their drives down the middle. And I hear the dad. There's a lake in front of the hole. Max is the furthest drive. So I hear the dad of the kid who's closest tied with Max say, don't hit it in the lake. That's what he says to him. I said, Max, remember what Daddy says on his show? Never say what you don't want to do. Your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. Say what you want to do. He's going to hit it in the lake. Because I know, Dad. Sure enough, dunks it in the lake. I said, Max, hit this sucker 10 feet left of the hole. We're going to 2-putt and get out of here. He goes, okay, Dad. He hits it about 20 feet left of the hole. This little boy hit it in the lake, hits an amazing chip shot, gets into the hole. So now Max has to 2-putt to tie. 2-putt to tie. 1-putt to win. He lines the putt up. I said, Max, this is where I was dumb. I said, Max, don't hit it too far past the hole. Because if you 2-putt, we go to a playoff. Max looks at me and goes, Dad, I'm going to make the putt. We're going to win. I said, you're right. Make that putt. He lines it up, back and forth, gets over it, takes the club back, drains it. Yeah, Max! Woo! Dad! He jumps into my arms. We're screaming. There's nobody there. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else in the world. The other 2 dads think I'm crazy, right? I get him in my arms. I said, how about them sandwiches, Dave? How about them sandwiches? Yeah, Max. He's got his shoulders back. He's all excited. walking pumped up, can't wait to call his mom. In fact, Mike, show him the medal. Look at this. That's him. See the shirt? We put the shirt on him. That's him. Look at that face. That's pure joy from a young man. That's pure joy from a young man who won his first. You can even see how he's standing. That ain't an athletic dude. He went on to win 23 straight tournaments in a row. Completely changed his life. 23 straight golf tournaments in a row he won. Same swing, same guy, different identity, different intention. He decided to win and not play. We decided to win and not play. You want to know why? Because winning is more fun than fun is fun. So here you go. Flash forward. Show him, Mike. This is a few years later. Him winning another one. And that one, it looks like he shot 64, first place. That's a pretty good score for a dude who was shooting 105. That's just a couple years later. Flash forward, Mike. Here's what he looks like now. You'll see some growth. That's me and my son now. And since that picture right there, he's lost 80 pounds because he got in shape. Why do you have to get in shape? Show him, Mike. He had to get in shape because this is Max signing his college. Click, Mike. That's Max signing his college golf scholarship. And Max is now away at Arizona Christian University playing college golf and doing incredibly well. And you can see the weight loss there as well. Pretty amazing story, huh? Kid went from losing every single tournament to being a college golfer because of one decision in one day where we decided to win. Pretty awesome. And that's how your life can change as well. Go ahead, Mike. You can pull it back up. So I tell you all that because I think when I'm done, you're going to remember a Velcro Mercedes and you're going to remember my son's golf story. Everything else I say is filler in between. You got to decide you're going to win. You got to decide you're going to be the one for that family. That's the one decision. The one decision is you freaking decide. I'm going to win. Every price I got to pay is I'm going to be the family. I'm the one that's going to change that family tree forever. I'm going to execute. I'm going to work on my identity. I'm going to follow Mylett stuff. I'm going to continue to get better because you can change your life at any given time. And it may not be a perfect moment, but eventually there'll be some blessing and some favor and some good fortune in there. You know, Proverbs 24:16 says, for the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. Be righteous. You're going to stumble. You're going to stumble many, many times, but it's your ability to get up. Scriptures promise us this. And by the way, belief is a poor substitute for experience. I want you to believe all experience. You got to go get some experience. Don't underestimate the power of total immersion in something. See, there's this notion out there right now that's a fact that is not true. What does that mean? It's a fact. People say, well, millionaires have multiple streams of income. They're in multiple different businesses. That is a fact that is not true. What do I mean by that? All the millionaires I know got great at something. They got great at something first. They built their cash flow machine. They got great at real estate, or they got great at influence. They got great at sales. They got great at something first, became a millionaire. Then they diversify their income into all kinds of businesses. But you got to get laser focused, totally immersed in your calling, in your cause, and get after it. That's the separator. I promise you, that's the separator in life, is total immersion. Let me give you an example of what that can look like for you. Mike, do you have the, let's wait on it. I'm actually going to show them something first. Can you pull up the house really quick? So let me tell you one more story about a real estate deal that I did that changed my life. This is just the power of God, okay? I just want you to understand this. For years, I would go by this property. You see where that beautiful home is right there? There was see that little cabin? There was a little dilapidated cabin right where that copper cabin is on the left. And I'd go by this cove every summer. Pull it down for a second, Mike, just so they can see me, and then I'll explain it to them. Thanks, man. I'm confusing you. I'd go by this cove every summer. This guy had this house up there, this little cabin, this amazing property. And I go by and say, hey, Richard, when you're ready to sell this place on my little cheap boat, I say, hey, I'm ready for you, man. He goes, I'm never selling this. This is my legacy. I'm like, well, I'll see you next summer. So for 6 summers, I'd come by with my family on this boat and say, Richard, when you're ready. 7th summer, I come by, Richard, when you're ready. He goes, I'm ready. I'm going through a divorce. I said, what did you say? He goes, come on up to the cabin. Let's work out a deal. I'm like, oh, crap. I don't have any money. But I got to get that property. So I went up and I said, look, I really want the property, man, but I'm not in a cash situation right now. And I said, but what about this? What if I traded you my house up here, right? Plus I'll give you my boat. I can give you $100,000 cash, and you carry a note for 2 years. How's that sound? You move right into my house. You got a roof over your head that's better, right? You get the cash, plus you love this boat. Just carry it for 2 years. I'll get you paid off in 2 years. Interest only, 2%. He goes, interest only 4%. I said, deal. We make a deal. I now control this amazing property. But like most things in life, my family's going, when's enough for you? What's wrong with you? You're crazy. Everything's fine. Slow down. Enjoy your life a little bit. Any of that sound familiar to any of you? I'm like, you don't understand. I'm a dreamer. I want to make my dreams come true. I want to do something great with my life. They're like, yeah, well, too many times of doing something great, you can do something really bad. So I start bringing out all these contractors. They're like, you can't put a house on this hill. I'm like, well, why can't I put a house on the hill? They're like, this is all rock. You can't build on this. There's no way. Plus there's running springs all throughout. The house will flood. It's impossible. One contractor goes, didn't you wonder why there was never a house here before? I thought, well, that's just because someone didn't have the vision. He goes, no, it's because someone knew you can't do it. And so now I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined my life. I gave up my house. I gave up the money I have. I gave up my boat. Now I got a piece of land I can't even do anything with. Everyone in my family, I told you, one too many risks, one too many deals. There you go again. You're going to hear this someday. So I'll bring out another contractor. Finally, this old Idaho dude comes out. He goes, well, you could, well, you'd have to blow up this rock. I'm like, well, what's that look like? He goes, we'd have to jackhammer it. I'm like, how's that work? He goes, just start jackhammering. We get enough of it out of here. Maybe I could stick a house on there for you. Like, what's that cost? It's like about 50 grand a week. I went, how many weeks we talking about? He's like, don't know till we get started. 11 months later, my property looks like Beirut. A bomb went off. There's rocks everywhere. Springs of water. People driving by in the boat laughing. What did this dude do? This is an eyesore on the lake. Someone needs to clean this place up. It looks like a bomb went off. It's disgusting. Looks like Fred Sanford from Sanford and Son lives in this place. I'm sitting there totally broke, up to my eyeballs in debt. I owe Richard his money in a year, right? I got rocks everywhere. I'm screwed. I literally was crying. Except God's good. See, God wants to repurpose your mess and build something magnificent in your life. That's what he does. So here's your problem, just like me back then. You think the mess you're in right now disqualifies you from being successful. That's what you think. You think, man, the mistakes I've made, the things people don't know about my divorce, my financial setback, this sin, this mistake, this thing I've done, it just back of your mind, you think you're disqualified from winning because of some circumstance, something you did, some situation you're in, used to be in, and you think it disqualifies you. Listen, I'm going to tell you, God wants to repurpose your mess and build a masterpiece. And oftentimes, the greater the dream, the deeper the foundation. The bigger the building, the deeper the foundation has to go. That's a factoid. So finally, this other guy comes out. I bring him out. I hear about him. He's like, hey, we're putting a house here. I said, how the hell are you doing that? He goes, I'm going to take all these rocks and this Beirut of a property you got, and I'm going to build a foundation with it. I'm going to repurpose everything here. This ain't going to cost very much. I said, what? He says, yeah, I got a vision. We can take these literally hundreds of thousands of rocks. I'm going to build a retaining wall for the home. It'll keep the lake from getting to the house. It'll protect your dream. This mess will protect your dream. And I'm going to take all the other rocks. We're going to build all the walls with it, all the interior with it, all your fireplace, all the exterior with it. I'm going to build this water, these springs. I'm going to take these rocks and direct them into these beautiful waterfalls and streams. It's going to be magnificent. I'm going to repurpose this entire mess into a masterpiece. That's what I got. Look at all the rocks. Stay there, Mike. See all those rocks? That was the mess. That was the Beirut. It keeps the water from ruining my dream. See all the rocks on the foundation? See all the rocks in the house? It's one of the most magnificent homes in the country. It's one of the most magnificent properties. Everybody I've ever brought there, Cole's been there. Ask him. It's one of the most magnificent homes. Look at that. Is that of a magazine that it's in? Look at all the rocks. I don't want you to notice just the beauty of the house. I want you to notice it's all rocks. See the little stream to the left, the little pond, little fire pit, all the retaining walls, all the walls of the house. Never mind the interior of the house. Are there any more, Mike? I don't know if there's any more. Yeah. Do we have that video, Mike, or no? You'll see. There's all the rock from the original hill where we blew it up. See all the waterfall to the left? We diverted all the springs into a massive waterfall that runs into the lake. That's good, Mikey. Thank you. brother. Look at that, all the rock. You can see it. That's what's going to happen to you. By the way, it's for sale for right now for $27 million. You can go look it up. Okay. So I'm not selling that house. I'm selling that house, but I'm not attempting to sell it to you. I'm just telling you that I built my dream. God wants to repurpose your mess. And I want you to get to the real estate part of it before I do some finishing comments. The most important part of that story is the following. Okay. I did a trade for it. I did a creative real estate deal for that property. And I'm probably going to make, and it's just we're not using it enough anymore. Probably make about $15 million on that deal. That was pretty cool. And I came up with $100,000 to do it. So there's deals to be made. In fact, let me show you one more. This is another property that I have just to sell you the dream, because I'm the Velcroed Mercedes guy. Mike, show them the video of La Quinta. This is truly one of the most magnificent properties on earth. We'll show you this really quick, just so you guys get a flavor of the type of properties that I now live in for my Velcroed car. I said this to sell you the dream. This is my desert home. I'm at my beach home now. Just let you take a look-see. There you go. That's all my property. It has its own driving range. This is the elite community in the United States. Phil Knight, Jerry West, the Kardashians, Sylvester Stallone, Tom Brady, John Elway, George Lopez, Tim Cook from Apple, Ellen DeGeneres, James Corbin, Ray Romano, Rafa Nadal. I could go on and on. The most famous and successful people in the world live there. I believe I have the nicest home in that entire community. Justin Bieber, you name it. And I built that home there. That's another one of my homes from the Velcroed car. That's also a pretty cool 62 Corvette, but with a 57 front end. But I show you that just to get your juices flowing, get you thinking about your dreams. And the scope of that property is just incredible. Can you imagine that? That's the dude that was in the middle of an intersection 25 years ago picking up his headlight. This is because of real estate and because of personal development. I just want you all to understand that. Okay, this is one of the most sophisticated, detailed, magnificent homes in the world. And I say that to you. Thanks, Mikey. I show you guys that because I just want you to know that's when I got intentional about winning. I want to tell you another secret. That house involved a trade. I traded 2 lots in Idaho, a lot in La Quinta, cash and a carry to do that deal. I now own it cash. And that house I probably made another $15 million on, and that was a creative real estate deal. So I tell you all that to let you know you're in the right place with the right people at the right time. You've got great coaches. And speaking of coaching, Mike, let's just pull up so they know where to find me. And then I'm going to finish with some final thoughts. I hope this is changing your life. That's my outcome. I can show them where my stuff is. Follow me on social. That's how you spell Ed Mylett. Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. My podcast is top 10 in the world. So subscribe to YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. Anything else, Mike? So people know where to get me. I have nothing to sell you at all. So that's the good news. Yeah, there you go. Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Just subscribe to all of it. Instagram's kind of the anchor platform for me. And the only thing I do is I have a coaching program called the Arete Syndicate. It's application only. And we do events too. And you can go look at that if you want to. All right. Thanks, Mike. That's all I got for that. All right, guys. So I'm running out of time. And I want to make sure that I give you my best. I told you I wanted today to change your life. I want you thinking about all of these different things. Then I want to wish something on you. I want you to write this word down, equanimity. Equanimity is what I call calmness under duress. The people that I know that are the most successful in life are calm under duress. They possess equanimity. That's an ability to laser in and focus when all the world is losing their minds all around you. And what I want you to know about you is you were born to do something great with your life if you can find equanimity, which is to be calm when everyone else is losing their head, for you to stay focused on your dream, on where you're going, on executing, because you were born to do something great in big ways and small ways. And I don't know that enough people have reminded you of this, but you were born special. When you were a little boy or a little girl, you must have known it. There had to be a moment when you were little. You're like, maybe you had someone who made you feel that way. You ever have one person that just made you feel special when you were a little boy or a little girl? For me, it could be a coach, a school teacher, your mom, your dad, a grandparent, an uncle, an auntie. I don't know. Maybe it was just one time. For me, it was my papa, my grandfather. He would pick me up on Sundays before church. He'd take me to go get donuts, and we'd ride in his little van, and he'd look at me. I was named after him. I'm Eddie the Third. He'd go, Eddie, you're going to do something great. You're my favorite. You're amazing. You're going to change the world. And I'd say, I am, Papa. He goes, you sure are. And it wasn't what he said. It was how he made me feel. And all my life, I've wanted to feel that way. All my life, I wanted to feel special, like I was making a difference with my life, just like you have. And if you've had that person, picture their precious face. Maybe they've passed away, maybe they're alive. You could close your eyes and just picture their face. They were right about you. I'm here to remind you, if you don't have that person in your life, I apply for the position. I know you were born to do something great. I know you were born to change your family forever. I don't say that to rah-rah you. I didn't come here on a Saturday afternoon away from my family for basically for free to rah-rah you. I came here to help you change your life, and which hopefully is an awakening for you, where you go, that's enough. I'm the author of my life. Me and God, we're the co-authors of my life. At any point, you can turn the page and start writing new chapters. And you got to ask yourself a question today. If your life ended today, this was the final chapter, there was an accident, you were gone, God forbid, would you be satisfied with the book of your life? If your great-grandkids came along and picked it up, would it be an interesting book? Would it be the book where they go, great-grandma, that's the one? That's our great-grandfather? That's our great-grandmother? Or would it not be in that book yet? If I started to read the pages where they go, well, it started out with some problems, but it just gets a little boring, and then they were gone. You don't want that. You want your book to inspire generations of people in your family. And you can decide that you can be a new character right now. You can walk out of this event, walk out of your living room. If you're there live or watching it, you can walk out from your Zoom when this is over tonight. And I know you got another day tomorrow, but tonight you can just, like Max did, bow your back, be a new character, decide you're somebody new. It's just a decision. It's literally a decision. I'm more confident. I'm more bold. I'm going places. I am not my past. It does not disqualify me. I am my present and my future. And I'm going to do something great. And that Mylett dude was right. I forgot. I am supposed to do something special. And you do these things in big ways and small ways. I'm going to tell you a quick story. My dad passed away very recently. My dad was a great man. His also name was Ed Mylett. He's not a famous one. I can't hold a candle to my dad. But my dad was an interesting man. The first 40 years of his life, there was always a good man in there, but my dad was an alcoholic. Wasn't a very good dad, husband, friend, disappear once in a while, kind of aggressive. And ironically, everything is happening for us and not to us. Everything. How did your dad's drinking happen for you? Well, I was the oldest boy. There were 3 girls. I had to figure out real early when dad was coming home. I had to learn to read him. Is this drunk dad who's going to be a little upset and angry and a little irritable, and we got to be careful and stay away from him? Or is this happy dad? 4. I had to get really good at being present with people and reading them. It's one of my great gifts to this day, is reading people. My first job that got me into this business, my dad got sober. The first AA meeting he went to, he came home and said, I got a job at an orphanage tomorrow. Go show up there. And it changed my life. I worked with 8 to 10-year-old boys. My boys were all wards of the court. Parents were dead, incarcerated, or had molested them. All those little boys wanted from me. I took them trick-or-treating. I was there on Christmas when they opened their presents. They just wanted someone to love them, care about them, believe in them, and show them how to live better. You know what everybody in the world wants, including you and me? Someone to love us, care about us, believe in us, and show us how to live better. That's what I'm trying to do with you today. Same thing I did at that orphanage called McKinley Home for Boys. But my dad's first 40 years weren't so good. Then he got sober, and he completely changed his life. And for the next 35 years, he lived in a remarkable existence. One I didn't know about because he was in an anonymous program, but my dad helped thousands of people get sober. And he had cancer for 9 years. I'm going to tell you, I was thinking I couldn't get through this, but I'm just going to share it with you guys. Last thing. And my dad had fought it for years, and he'd lost about 100 pounds. My dad couldn't breathe because it was a lung issue. So my dad would have minutes where he'd have 3 breaths, 6 breaths. And so finally, my dad went to the hospital for the last time, and he called me. And I'm using it in my voice, but my dad sounded more like this. And by the way, my dad had my voice before he got cancer. Same voice, kind of deep voice. He called me. And I'd say, Dad, what do you mean? You got to fight this. My dad, I'll use my voice now, but that's how my dad was talking. Weighed nothing, lost everything. He said, I fought this for 9 years. I did it for you and Mom and the kids and the grandbabies. I've gone through tremendous treatments and pain, and I'm done. I don't want to anymore. Please get me home. I want to die in my home. I said, Dad, we'll get you another steroid shot. He said, listen to me. And it would take him minutes to just enunciate this one sentence. I have 2 days to live. I would like to spend those 2 days in my home with Mom and my children, please. And I called his doctor, and his doctor said, I don't know how many days he has. He says 2. He's on borrowed time, Ed. I'd get him home. So my dad came home. Ambulance brought him home. We cleared out the living room. Hospice came in. And I had the great blessing of being with my dad when he passed. But before he passed away, my dad's work of his life was getting up early and breakfast and meeting people and helping them get sober. Late night dinners, phone calls, texts. My dad had index cards all over his office of birthdays on them. And I would ask him, Dad, what are those birthdays? He goes, oh, those are the sobriety birthdays of my friends. And every day my dad would call 10, 20 people, happy birthday, congratulations on your sobriety. He would meet people all over. Famous people and people that were in prison. My dad had a couple hours left. He's on oxygen. He weighs 100 and nothing. He can't breathe. He's down some minutes to 5 breaths a minute, some minutes 10 minutes, some breaths 10 minutes a minute, 10 breaths a minute rather. And his phone keeps ringing. He's in and out of consciousness. He's on morphine. But my dad was who he was till the last minute. And so he says, Debbie, who keeps calling me? My mom says, it's someone named Oscar. Don't worry. My dad's got 2 hours left to live. Give me the phone. No, Dad, you're not taking a phone call. My dad's he's barely breathing. Give me the phone. We give it to him. Oscar. My dad knew he had to take this call because he knew Oscar may be thinking about going back and drinking again or using. My dad spent 21 minutes on the phone with Oscar talking him off the ledge. He knew what to say. My dad passed away 2 hours later. In his last hours, my dad was still true to who he was and making a difference for other people. I've never been more proud of a human being. My dad didn't need to do that. It's not on Instagram. He'd be embarrassed that I was telling you. It was who he was helping other people. When my dad died, he said, I don't want a funeral. I don't want anybody talking about me. You guys go to dinner and celebrate my life. And so I get a call from one of his AA meeting guys a couple of weeks later. He goes, hey, I know your dad didn't want to deal. We're going to have a few people gather at a park. I just want to let you know. We'll have a few people that's going to honor your dad, have a cake and some sodas. I said, okay, I don't think I'm going to go. My mom says, I think I'm going to go. We show up at this park. There's about 400 people there. And one after one, they would get up and say, hi, I've never met any of these people. Hi, my name is George. Ed Mylett saved my life 34 years ago. I walked into a meeting and he shook my hand and he took me under his wing. And he's been my best friend for 34 years. Next guy gets up, very famous actor. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Ed Mylett saved my life 15 years ago. I was going back to using again. I texted him at 4 o'clock in the morning. He met me for breakfast and a cup of coffee and changed my life. He's my best friend. Next guy gets up. Hi, I'm Larry. I've been in prison for 15 years. Ed Mylett saved my life. Next lady gets up. Hi, I'm Sarah. 21 years ago, Ed Mylett saved my life. One after the other, they would get up. I was blown away. I knew who none of these people were because my dad never told me any of it. Why am I telling you this story? You were born to do something great with your life. And I don't know if it's in big ways or small ways. And I don't even know what big and small means. I know my sister is making a difference in the world as a school teacher. I know my dad, who was not a rich man, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of notoriety, lived an extraordinary life by helping other people every morning, every day, every second, till his last breaths. And so if my dad can do that, you can do that. You can change the world. You can make a difference with your life. You can go for it. You can make the decision. You can execute. You can decide, I'm the one in this family. I'm shifting. I'm changing our life. I am today. I'm a new character. I'm walking out of here different. And here's the reason why. As a Christian, I believe that when my dad died, you do go to heaven. If you've earned your way there, you've accepted the Lord, you get there. But I have this other thing. I think the Lord says, Ed Mylett, well done, good and faithful servant. And let me introduce you to the man you were born to be. You were destined to be. Let me introduce you to the ultimate version of you, the places you could have gone, the things you could have done, the people you could have helped, the experiences you could have had, the moments. And I think you meet the destiny version of you. The destiny version. To me, heaven is my dad got there, or when I get there, and you meet the person you could have been, the place you could have, all that. And that guy goes, man, I'm proud of you. You caught me. And you go, I've been chasing you all my life. That's heaven. You meet who you could have been and you're identical twins. Hell is you get there and the Lord introduces you to who you could have been, the place you could have gone, the moments, the memories, the experiences, the difference you could have made, who you could have become. And you meet that person and you're total strangers. That's hell to me. I want heaven for you. One thing I'm proud of my dad's in heaven, man. My dad chased that dude quietly every day of his life when he got sober and caught him. He didn't have him the first 40 years, and it doesn't matter. And here's the deal. It doesn't matter that you haven't been that person yet. What matters is you start chasing her. You start chasing him right now. You've got the time to catch him, but time's running out on you. We're here for a flicker. It was just yesterday. My dad was a young, healthy man. Now I'm the last Ed Mylett standing. When I was with Papa in that van, there were 3 Ed Myletts. Papa's gone, Dad's gone, and I'm turning 50. Like that, I was in Papa's lap, going to the donut store. Like that. So if my dad can turn it around from 40 to 75, you sure as heck can turn it around right now. And all I want for you is the best. All I want for you is you to be the one. But you got to make that decision that determines your destiny. You got to stop negotiating the price. All you're going to remember from this talk, you're going to remember my stories. You're going to remember my facts. You got to upgrade your identity. You got to execute on these deals. You got to take some risks, and you got to decide you're going to be that new character in your life, because ultimately you want to go to heaven, just like I do. All right, that's what I've got. I challenge you to max out. I look forward to hearing from you on social, and obviously on my show and YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. Again, Cole, Cody, Dan, I know is floating around there somewhere. It's been my honor. God bless you guys. Thank you.
All right, guys, give it up for Ed. Bro, you are incredible. Guys, he can see you. Wave at him right now. Give him a wave. Give him a wave, you guys. Oh, man. Dude. Anybody else? Eyes a little wet, or is it just me? Ed, if Ed's still here, I know he had a hard end and he had to go because we had those technical difficulties. But Ed, if you can still hear me, man, I appreciate you so much, bro. And I know that you do as well. And what a great reminder, right? That this is our one shot at life, and I share this. Ed does, and so I believe that when I die, I will go to heaven. But regardless of your belief of what happens after death, we can all agree that we do die and that this life ends. Some of you may believe that you come back and get to live another life, or that you just go into the dirt and this is it. Regardless of what any of us believe happens after we die, we can all agree that we've got this life, this version of this life, this one shot at it. I love how Gary Vee always talks about we get one at bat. And a lot of people want to live their life just trying to bunt to just get on base. But other people like Ed, they're swinging for the fences. And so what a great reminder. Just all you guys here, go ahead and just like you did for my wife, and I appreciate that, give Ed a shout out right now on social media, you guys. I know he'll be watching for that. He loves that. And I just don't really have the words. That was a powerful talk, you guys. And I just really appreciate Ed's vulnerability. I'm looking over here in the chat box, and looks like you guys really enjoyed that as well. Cole speechless with a question mark. Yeah, I guess this is my version of speechlessness. But I mean, I can't agree with what he said more, you guys. I meet a lot of people who are older than me who say, Cole, do you think I can still succeed in real estate? Do you think I'm 54 years old? Like, do you think I can still do it? And it's like, guys, man, there are so many stories of people like Ed was sharing that get into their what do they call it in life? Back 9 in life. And it's only then that you start living your purpose and absolutely exploding. So anyway, I could go on and on about my takeaways from Ed, but I love that. Sonia says, this summit has changed my life. Thank you. Sheena says, good grief, tears rolling. He was powerful, amazing testimony. I would listen to that every day. I'm lifted. Good news is it was recorded like all of the speakers were. And so you guys can listen to that every day if you want to. Just go back to your recordings. And that's a shout out and a testament to Cody, you guys. I'm honored to have helped him produce this event. But the reality is Ed Mylett, you just heard him say, he doesn't do stuff like this. He doesn't say yes to just anybody. But just with what Cody has done with his brand and in the public sphere, when Ed was asked to speak here, he didn't hesitate. He said, I'd be honored to. I would love to. So that's a testament to Cody Sperber. So for any of you guys who are enjoying what you're experiencing here this weekend, guys, we're only 2/3 of the way done. We still have an entire day tomorrow. And can you believe that Cody and I decided, let's just charge people for $49 for this? Come on, guys. Give me a wave. How many of you would have paid $1,000 for the virtual feed, right? Yeah, all of you, right? $10,000, $1 million. I mean, guys. Oh, I love that everyone in the chat box is saying priceless. She says, best $49 I have ever spent in capital letters. I agree with that. So here's what we're going to do, guys.